Okay. Hey, it's been a minute. And I was all prepared to do. I've had this set up for a couple weeks now to do a normal Happy Little Boards show. And I just. I feel like I need to. This is kind of like part two of the universe is weird video that I made. And I just feel like I need to get some stuff off my chest, get some things out of me about me that I want to talk about before I continue with any more on this channel. Strangely enough, or I guess not strangely, coincidentally, my initial thought for the theme for the new episode was going to be purpose, like thinking about your own personal purpose in the world. And I was going to call it On Purpose. I still might do that. But this kind of leans towards where my mind has been at. And it's kind of difficult to I have so much to talk about myself and my experience in life that I would like to share. However, it can feel wrong to talk about myself that much, so this was the back and forth. This was going on in my head. I'm like, how do I talk about this? Because what I don't want is to make it feel like I'm just telling you all about me, and my life and all that. And I was like, why am I feeling this impulse to talk about myself? And it's like I've learned through advice and through therapy and through some wonderful books and stuff and just different perspectives of other humans that I've listened to talk about their life and their experience, is that it's important sometimes to really sit and peel back the layers of how you're feeling and what's really under there. Because even in a case where you're like, for a good example would be you find yourself like judging someone else for something, like about them at work or just in life, someone you know through your kids at school or whatever, like that you see at the store, someone that you see on TV, and you're judging them, poo-pooing them in some way, shape, or form. More often than not, and I would argue almost 100% of the time, there is some point of pain in yourself that somehow they are reminding you of or triggering in you to cause you to feel upset, to make you not feel good. And I think in the same manner, it's important to look in when you're doing anything. If you're pursuing a hobby or a career, anything that you're doing with your life, I think it is important to reflect on like why you're doing it and what exactly is it that's actually the reason you're doing this. Because a lot of times you'll find that what you think your goal is to get out of that thing, a lot of times will be not why you're actually motivated to do that thing. So I've been thinking about that with myself a lot, and I do have a lot of music that I work on, with production. I'm working on my own stuff, collaborating with others on writing songs in various ways, and attempting to, create things for public consumption, I guess, and to put out in the world. And that area of my life, I've also stopped a lot to think about, well, why am I even doing this? Like, what is it that I like about this? And then with this project, with the Happy Little Boards thing, it's kind of, if I look back, and this has only been going on for, I don't know, barely even 6 months since I made the decision in my head to do this thing. And so let's dive into that one specifically. So when I first started this, my initial motivations came from, I don't want to continue working at the job I've been working at for so very, very long, and exploring what can I do to make money somewhere else that I need to make to survive, and have it be something that I like doing. So understanding that with a great deal of work, that making a YouTube channel can be financially worthwhile. That's something I was interested in doing. And then also, as I've spoken about, this pedal board that you see that I use, this came from a leftover shelf that I had made based on, my wife had asked me to make shelves for our bathroom. I don't know if I've told this story before. And it was like a Pinterest a couple articles that I read and made my own version of these rustic shelves. And then someone else saw them, asked me to make them some, and I had one left over. I ended up turning it into a pedal board, and everyone that has seen it has thought it was awesome. So I thought, hey, there's a business opportunity there. And that's also something that I enjoy doing, that I feel is a cool, unique thing that's beneficial. It's not, it's a good thing to put out in the world. And that also, I could start a business. It's something I can do for myself, that I'm in control of, that I'm the boss of. And, I would not be, what's the word? I would not be at the mercy of someone else's decisions in that respect, where the execution and vision could start from my idea, and then I could collaborate with other people to bring it to fruition. I started learning a lot more about business. That was very interesting to me. But in essence, this actually all was initially motivated by wanting to be able to earn a living income, and hopefully more than what I do now, because my wife and I are, we are the stereotypical American lower, barely maybe a toe into the middle class, never getting ahead of debt, always having to finance stuff. We're the people that are one emergency or broken car or appliance away from financial disaster, just straddling the line of living within our means. We have 4 kids, so there's not a lot of flexibility to do anything or make any moves. But that's, that's how we've been. I came from much poorer circumstances growing up. My wife, very similarly, she was not coming from somewhere of more privilege financially. So there was a lot of motivation to, need to improve my circumstances financially, and I also need to get out of this soul crushing job that I've been working for 23 years now, which is crazy. I work for a very small landscape construction company. We don't do lawns. It's like all the renovating gardens, creating new gardens. We do hardscape stuff too. Blah, blah, blah. I've been doing that, and it's literally the same thing. Nothing changes year after year, and there's no purpose there. There's no sense of fulfillment, and I don't necessarily know why, but I finally got to the point where it's like I also can't continue living this loop that I'm in. So that's where I'm at, and I make the decision to start this, and it's really, in that moment, felt like it was based on, mainly a financial decision. Like, I need to create a product, sell it. I need to create content to earn money from that content, and I wanted to make sure that I was putting something out there that was positive into the world, because that I did believe strongly, and very much believe strongly in that as well, because I feel like each of us does have a unique thing to put out there into the world. So 6 months later, I'm here, and I've been thinking so deeply into this and peeling back what it really is. And while I'm in the process of kind of figuring out what the motivation really is there, I'm slowly landing on the fact that I think really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to express that I am just a normal human. There's no special circumstances necessarily. I'm just your average human. I don't have a leg up in the world. Like I said, I have 4 kids. My wife has been a hairdresser forever. She owned a salon for many years, and then one of her proteges opened their own salon. She decided she was done with the ownership thing. She now is an employee and manager at that salon. We've both been working these blue-collar jobs forever, just getting by, public school, kids doing sports, debt, mortgage payment, old cars that are ready to fall apart, fixing things via YouTube video so that we don't have to pay for a repairman, paycheck to paycheck. Just we are statistical. I am a statistical average human being, and I want to document myself trying really hard to be very honest about my struggle, and also to show the work I'm trying to put in the journey I'm going on to completely change my life into something that is fulfilling for me, beneficial to the community I live in, and hopefully the world that I'm connected to via the internet. and this community that's watching this stuff. I want to put something good out into the world that leaves it better than when I showed up. And I also want to prove that, one, anybody can take the time and find that weird thing that fits right with the world, that's special about them, that groove in the world where they fit, and how to creatively figure out a way to make that your life. Because I feel like when you follow that path, when you find your thing, and it literally can be anything, but we've all just got that one unique thing, that one unique path that is our special thing that most of us don't realize, and this world isn't set up to nurture us exploring that. That if you follow that first and have the space to, even if it's inch by inch, head in that direction, that there is a life there where you can be happy and have your needs met. Because I believe that to be true. And I'm hoping to be documenting myself going through this process. And I think the difficult part for me is that I have no clue what exactly that is. And as I keep doing things, at any minute, it can change, where instead of me going, oh, I have to do another one of these shows that I've been doing, now I'm like, I have to just sit down and say this and make this random video of me just talking and saying these things. And I don't know if that's the right move, but for me, it's like, in my gut, that's what I need to get out of me right now. And I don't know what that's going to look like a month from now. And so being inconsistent in that way goes against a lot of the advice that would be given to most people that are trying to do anything like I'm doing, like a YouTube channel or a business. There's a lot of advice about like how to structure it and what it should look like and be consistent and do X, Y, Z. And I think that's like, my gut is like, just be raw and honest and sloppy and fail and go on the journey and document that. But it's so inconsistent and weird and random, and that makes it, I guess, scary. And it makes it seem not right. Like, I feel like I shouldn't be putting this video out there, because that's not what everyone would advise me to do. It would be to improve the production quality of the show and to post more consistently or whatever. You get the point. That part doesn't matter. But so that's really what I'm doing here, is I'm trying to share myself as rawly, that's a tough word to say, in a very raw, honest way. And I also do understand that I need to be careful and make sure that I keep boundaries with myself and the audience, and make sure I check my boundaries with how much personal detail information I'm sharing, but I think well, that's what I'm getting at, is I'm pushing the limit. I'm trying to push the limits of documenting my real honest life, because I feel like so many people just want to be like heard in this way. They want someone. That's why therapy is such a great thing, is because you can sit there and you can just say all this stuff out. I mean, me talking to a GoPro camera, I'm not actually talking to a group of people. I don't have to post this if I don't want to. It's setting myself up in a situation where I am giving myself a reason and permission to say all this stuff out loud. But also at the end of the day, I don't have to actually do anything with this. But it feels very good to say this stuff out loud. And the reason for that is because I feel like we all enjoy when we can just be ourselves. However, because that is sloppy, inconsistent, ever-changing, evolving, it's scary. And I think we've kind of been taught to reward consistency and like branding, like in that way, like you pick your identity and you be that thing, and you try to pick a good identity that people like, and then you stick with that, and you know, capitalize on it in whatever way, whether it's through attention or money or whatever, like. But that's not what a person is. A person's always changing. Like, it's been 6 months and I already feel like I'm so far from the person that made the first Happy Little Boards video. And I don't want to pretend like that's not the case. This is my channel. These are my videos. I can just do what I want with it. And it's so easy to forget that. And so, like, if I do anything, I want to make other people feel comfortable being this way. Because in my heart, I believe that that is a path towards a more empathetic world. I believe that being honest, even if that honesty is flawed and potentially has negative response, it's better to be flawed and honest than to be controlled and deny the true nature of being a human, and to hold yourself back from growing. That's what life is, and you're denying yourself the evolution of your being. Like, it's what we go through when we're going from kids to, let's say, like teenagers, when that identity stuff and the patterns of behavior and all that and personality really start to solidify. You know, you change so much, and then we stop. And I think deep down we're all afraid to continue changing in that way and evolving. It's tough. It's vulnerability. It's scary. But if we all know we're going through that, and if we all understand that as a good thing that benefits everyone, you know, if I am unsure of something, or or I misinterpret something about someone, or something upsets me about someone, and I respond honestly about my feelings, and that, because that might be, I maybe have misinterpreted that, and when I'm honest about it, that person is then potentially upset by my reaction to them. If we, in those situations, if we understand it as, oh, I see that we both don't understand each other, and I appreciate you being honest, and can we just take a minute, because that's not what I meant, and I don't think, if you understood better what I was meaning, or let me explain why I said or was acting that way, because I think if you understood me better and what was going on with me in that moment, then you would feel, you wouldn't have the same reaction. And then if we're all more open in that sense, but we all view that as like a normal way to handle those situations, one, by being honest up front, and two, by being honest about reactions that you might have to someone else's honesty, we learn from each other. And that type of learning is what leads us to understand other people, and like, put yourself in other people's shoes much more, which in turn leads to empathy and a more empathetic world. So I don't know. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I still like making loops and talking about life. And I got plenty of topics that I would love to dive into. And I'm still going to keep doing that. But I'm also going to talk like this. And I'm going to follow what my feelings are about what I would like to share about what I'm going through and the things that are happening in my life, even if they're not related to guitar pedals or life philosophy or whatever. I'm just want to tell everybody that it's okay to be yourself. One of my dearest friends, this couple, Sheila and Warren, I met them via my wife. They had a teenage son that he was the same age as my oldest child, my stepdaughter, and he passed away, I think 5 years ago now. It's essentially just a sudden, unexplained passing in the night. And he was a tremendous musician, like creative through and through, with everything to do with music. But one of the things that the legacies that he left behind was this phrase, everybody likes to be themselves. And that's what, when they have any kind of fundraising for the grants and scholarships that they have. His name is Nolan Gibbons. Go look up his music. It is wonderful. But that's the sticker and the t-shirt that you see everywhere, and everybody likes to be themselves. Like, is there ever a more pure statement about people, you know? And that stuck with me. Like, he might be gone, but something about the way he left us and what he left us all with. Something like that phrase, it's changed me in so many ways. And that's another, if that hadn't happened, I don't know if this would have happened, you know? And I'm not saying he had to pass for me to do this, but I'm just saying, like, if what I'm doing is a good thing, and the fact that I'm trying to be myself, I don't know if I could have gotten here without that. And it's like him being a part of so many lives. It was like he exploded into a gazillion pieces and everybody got to take his spirit in, and it kind of made him even bigger of a presence than he was, in a way. You know, I like to think of it in that sense. And I really truly, I just wanted to bring that up because I really truly find that statement of everybody likes to be themselves to be a core thing that we should all have echoing through our minds, and remembering that about other people as well, and to celebrate our differences and what being yourself means to each of us, because to each of us that's a unique thing, and that's not a bad thing, that's the best thing. And it should be interesting and fascinating to find out what's unique and different about every person, not to criticize what's different about every person, you know? So this is my attempt at putting that out there into the world. I hope I've done a good job of conveying where I'm at, because I know this may have been a bit of a journey of words here. Is again, like, I feel like there's too much to say because a lot has happened, but I do want to sum up this talk by mentioning one important thing that I experienced that has been fairly profound to me, and I feel like it was a moment where I'm going to look, one of those moments that I'm going to look back and say everything was different after this. And it may sound a little crazy, and if you find it to be a little crazy, I challenge you to go and check this out yourself, because I feel like everybody should. And if you have already heard about this, please let me know what you thought in the comments, because another great friend of ours who is, so there's this couple that lives near us that we've become the best of friends with, and they're people who I hold in extremely high regard. Like, they are the model of humans that I look at for an example of, you know, what an exceptional human being looks like to me. And they are the parents of two lovely boys. Their younger son has autism and is nonverbal. He's the same age as my youngest. They actually go to school together and are so adorable when they play. So she has been involved in the world of autism and supportive everything, an advocate, and also obviously exposed to a lot of awesome books and research and things like that are out there, and constantly in the know. And last August we had gone over for dinner, and we were engaged in this conversation, and I had said to her, as we were just talking about the state of the humans, especially in America right now, and like, just, it seems from my perspective, and she agrees, they agree, I do feel like overall it seems that the collective mass of people are just kind of unhappy with the way things are. I think things could be so much better for the large percentage of people, and just the level of happiness, is so far down. There's so much loneliness, there's so much anxiety. And we were talking about that, and I just happened to be brave and be honest and express how sometimes I wonder if, these people that we refer to as disabled, that have autism and these super unique and fascinating brains, what if they're the next evolution of human beings, but we look at them because they're different as disabled? And I was just expressing how I go, for all we know, they could be actually a step in advancement of us, and we might not even realize it, and that would make total sense. And maybe that the future in 1,000 years is mainly filled with people more like their son, and not like some of the standard people you see in society these days. Next time, fast forward a couple months from that conversation, we meet up again, and the mom pulls me aside and shows me a clip of this podcast she's been listening to, and it's called the Telepathy Tapes. And it is documenting many stories of these nonverbal, severely autistic humans that seem to be very accurately and somewhat easily reading the thoughts of their mom or their teacher, or communicating telepathically. And I was like, okay, you have my attention. And again, I urge you, because it's so hard to encapsulate in words the vast array of things that this documentary covers, because it's not just the first couple episodes is a lot of telepathy focus. And they talk a lot about the research, and it's so well done, and they take you so beautifully through it in a way that is easy to digest and understand. But as I moved through listening to this, it started sparking up in me all these curiosities I've had about the way the universe works in the past. And I would say that my mind has always been spiritually open to this like mystical ways of how the universe works, and like all that stuff of like, are we just a tiny cell inside the brain of a giant being, and if you zoom out far enough, you know, we're this tiny little speck of thought inside a giant being, or whatever. Or if you zoom in far enough, is there a tiny little world inside our cells, on our electrons and in our particles and all that stuff. I always loved thinking about things like that. And long story short, all of the things that are unveiled and expressed in this documentary by these miraculous humans essentially answered a lot of the questions I had. And it was more or less like a spiritual awakening. Like, okay, I've always kind of had this feeling in me about how things are, or maybe how the world works and the universe is, and like what could possibly be the reason for everything, or how it all, what it all means and how it all moves. And you know, even down to like quantum physics stuff, you know, like it's all in that spiritual realm to me. And these humans in this documentary spelled out and answered so many questions, and confirmed a lot of the inklings I felt I had. And it really awakened this sense of connection with the world, and this feeling of spiritual purpose, and a desire to follow this feeling I've had in me forever. And it was almost like it just gave me, it relit that fire, and it also gave me permission to feel okay feeling this way, and like that it's okay to be quote unquote weird, or to, I don't know. It's very difficult to describe, and it feels a little weird. But it really was. It was like a spiritual awakening, and I can't wait to learn more. And I'm so excited to learn from and understand their son so much better now. And it's just a whole new world. And I left the pod, when I finished the final episode, I said to my coworker, I go, I just don't understand if we now know this thanks to these humans and this communication that we can now have with them, why are we still doing what we're doing? Like, we should all stop and reassess and like start the next phase of human existence. Like, it's really wonderful, and I want to send you all off with a wish that if what I'm saying sounds interesting to you, go check out the Telepathy Tapes podcast. If what I am saying sounds insane to you, please go listen to it for yourself and come tell me your thoughts on it, because I am very curious. And I do also want to point out that I have always come from a place of skepticism and have been tried to be very rooted in reality. It's why I've not ever had any interest in any organized religion, or it just, a lot of that Bible stuff seems just not the right thing to me, because it just didn't seem right and didn't make sense. And I've always been very skeptical of ghosts and things like that. Yet I've always had this curiosity about like how the concept of time works, and matter and antimatter in the universe, which I do have to admit is its own version of believing in something that can't really be held in your hand or proven. So, but if you're skeptical like that, or if you think that this sounds crazy, I also would request that you give it a shot. It's just a podcast. It's not going to hurt you. And I'd love to discuss more with anyone that's interested in this stuff, to argue against what they talk about in this documentary, or to talk further about it. I actually hope to be able to continue talking about some of the concepts around existence and consciousness and all that stuff that I find so fascinating. I would love to talk more about that during some of the Happy Little Boards episodes. So that was very meaningful to me, and something that happened recently that also has led to me feeling comfortable enough to make this long video just talking to you guys. Yeah, so that was a lot. I feel better for having said it out loud. I'm glad I did. I'm going to post it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope that there's something in here that I've said that gives you a moment of inspiration to be yourself a little more than you have been. And I also, just real quick too, like that concept of being yourself, I think it's always ever changing, and that's because the more you're yourself, the more you interact with others that are being themselves, that feedback builds and evolves in a great way, in a good way. It's a good thing to always be learning and growing in a meaningful way with each other. It's just the important thing is, this is the more of us, the more humans that engage in this growth and learning from each other and connection with each other, the better and stronger we all are. It is so far from, it is the opposite of a solo journey. Also, why I'm making sure that I share this, because yes, I'm sitting here by myself going through this, taking the steps by myself, but this is meaningless unless I can put myself out there in some way to connect with others that can interact with this thing that of myself that I'm putting out there. So it's a connection of people that it's the meaningful part. It's never a solo thing. So with that, say hi in the comments, send me a message. However you can, contact me if you feel any inspiration to say anything to me. I am open to chat about any of this stuff. I'm here to connect with, and I'm very interested to see who else is out there that might be going through anything like this, or just is interested in any of the stuff I'm talking about. So peace, love, rock and roll. The universe is weird, and I love it. Everybody likes to be themselves. Go check out Nolan Gibbons. Go check out the telepathy tapes. And I will see you in the next video, which hopefully will be a lot sooner of a distance, a lot closer of a distance than the last two, this video and the one before it. All right. Goodbye, everyone, and good night. It is time for me to go to bed. See you later.